Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you're making the first and most powerful decision of your life. What am I going to focus on? Most people don't choose their focus. They react. They let the world, the headlines, the noise, or their fears tell them where to direct their attention. And that's a formula for mediocrity, because focus is power. Focus is the gateway drug to your emotions, your drive, your decisions. What you focus on, you feel. What you feel, you act on. What you act on becomes your habits, and those habits create your life. You could focus on what you don't have or what's missing. You could focus on how unfair things are, and guess what? You'll feel drained, stuck, angry. That becomes your fuel. Or you can focus on what you can control. You can focus on progress, not perfection. You can focus on gratitude, growth, the mission, not the mess. Same circumstances, different outcomes. Because of focus. Some people wake up and focus on what's wrong with the world. High achievers wake up and focus on what they're going to create, contribute, and conquer. One mindset leads to excuses. The other, to execution. Focus builds emotional momentum. You can focus on fear or faith, scarcity or strategy, the pain of the past or the possibilities of the present. Whatever you lock your mind onto, your life will start bending in that direction. Focus isn't just a thought. It's a decision to aim your life's energy like a laser. An energy, when directed with precision, is unstoppable. Decision #2. What meaning you give things the second decision you're making every day, every moment, is this. What does this mean? Nothing in life has meaning except the meaning you give it. The same event can either break you or build you, depending on the label you slap on it. That failure, to one person, it's proof they're not good enough. To someone else, it's fuel. It's the beginning of mastery, that betrayal. To one person, it's the end of trust. To another, it's the beginning of boundaries and a higher standard. The difference isn't in the event, it's in the meaning. This is the hidden lever of life. People spend years trying to change their circumstances, but never change the meaning they attach to those circumstances. And that's why they stay stuck. Because meaning becomes identity, and identity drives behavior. If you believe life is happening to you, you become a victim. If you decide life is happening for you, you step into power. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what's this trying to teach me? That shift alone will change your emotional thermostat, your confidence, your decisions, your destiny. The meaning you assign to pain determines whether it becomes suffering or transformation. The meaning you assign to a delay decides whether you see it as punishment or preparation. Meaning is not passive. It's a weapon. It can be used against you or wielded for you. Most people assign meaning based on emotion. But leaders, those who shape their own character, they assign meaning based on vision. They don't just feel, they frame. They interpret every situation through the lens of where they're going, not where they've been. When the meaning changes, the story changes. And when the story changes, your whole life gets rewritten from the inside out. Decision #3. What you decide to do about it, the third decision, the one that separates the talkers from the doers, the dreamers from the warriors, is this. What are you going to do about it? You've made a choice about what to focus on. You've attached a meaning to it. But now comes the moment of truth, the moment where character is either carved or crushed, because nothing changes until you do something. Your rituals, your reactions, your responses, that's where real power lives. Not in your goals, not in your vision board, in your daily decisions to act when it's hard, to move when it's inconvenient, to lead when you feel like shrinking. You don't build character by thinking about it. You build it by choosing action over comfort, discipline over distraction, mission over mood. Every day you're faced with 1,000 tiny crossroads. Do I show up or back down? Do I speak truth or stay silent? Do I run toward resistance or retreat into excuses? And every one of those choices is a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. Most people wait for motivation. But winners, they move without it. They don't wait to feel ready. They take action until readiness becomes irrelevant. They act themselves into a new way of being. This is the decision that defines whether your life becomes a masterpiece or a cautionary tale, because action is identity. You don't become courageous by thinking brave thoughts. You become courageous by doing the hard thing again and again until it rewires your nervous system. You don't become disciplined by hoping for better habits. You become disciplined by showing up for your values when no one's watching. Action is the bridge between the internal and the external, between who you are and who you're destined to be. The world doesn't respond to your intention. It responds to your execution. And every time you act in alignment with your highest standard, you reinforce that standard until it becomes your baseline, your default. Your identity character is not given. Its chosen character isn't something you're born with. It's not handed to you. It's not genetic. It's not luck. It's built. Chosen. Forged in fire. Every day with every decision, you're either constructing your character or compromising it. You don't discover who you are by waiting. You decide who you are by how you show up when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when everything in you wants to quit, but something deeper says, not yet. That's character. It's not the highlight reel, it's the behind-the-scenes grind. It's not what you post, it's what you practice. We live in a world that hands out labels like candy, smart, gifted, talented, lucky. But none of that matters if your character's weak. Talent might open the door, but only character keeps you in the room. Charm may impress for a moment, but character earns trust over time. And trust is the currency of impact. You can fake skill, you can fake confidence, but you can't fake character. Not when the pressure's on, not when the storm hits. Because character is revealed in adversity, but it's built in the small, quiet moments when you think no one will notice. You build character when you choose integrity over image, when you keep a promise to yourself long after the feeling you made it in is gone. You build it when you do the hard thing, not because you'll be rewarded, but because it's right. You build it when you decide your standards are non-negotiable, when your values aren't up for sale, when your behavior reflects your beliefs, even if it costs you approval or comfort. Real character doesn't flex under pressure. It gets stronger. It becomes your foundation. It's not something you find when things get hard. It's the reason you don't break when they do. You're always one decision away from a different life. There's a moment, maybe even today, where everything can shift, not because the world changes, but because you do, because you make one decision. One decision to stop negotiating with your fears. One decision to stop letting your past dictate your future. One decision to raise your standard, to take ownership, to burn the excuses, and step into something bigger than your circumstances. One decision to stop tolerating average. One decision to demand more from yourself. One decision to stop being the version of you that's surviving and start being the version that's building something. People think transformation is this massive overnight overhaul. It's not. It's that single moment when you draw the line in the sand and say, that's it, no more. One shift in focus, one new meaning, one bold action. That's how change starts. Every breakthrough you've ever seen started with a simple decision to stop playing small. Most people never decide, they drift. They hope, wish, wonder. But decision cuts through the noise. Decision is the beginning of momentum. The second you decide who you are, what you stand for, and what you're no longer available for, your life starts moving in a new direction. You don't need 10 steps. You need one move made with absolute clarity and commitment. Your standards shape your destiny. Your life doesn't rise to the level of your goals. It falls to the level of your standards. You don't get what you want. You get what you tolerate. Every day, whether you're conscious of it or not, you are enforcing a set of personal standards. How you show up, how you speak to yourself, how you treat others, how you train your body, how you chase your vision. And those standards are silently scripting your future. If your standard is I'll try, then don't be surprised when you get half-hearted results. If your standard is I do whatever it takes, then there's nothing life can throw at you that you won't turn into fuel. Standards are not goals. They're the minimums you allow for yourself. They're the baseline that defines what's acceptable in your world. If your standard is to be kind only when it's easy, you'll collapse under pressure. But if your standard is to live with discipline, with fire, with relentless purpose, then everything in your life starts to align with that demand. Raise your standards and your identity starts to catch up. The world responds not to what you say you want, but to what your behavior insists upon. Your relationships, your finances, your fitness, your mindset, they're all reflections of what you've been willing to settle for. Every time you raise your standards, you force your environment, your habits, your circle, even your thoughts to evolve. People who transform their lives don't do it by chance. They do it by refusing to stay at the level they're at. They look at their results and say, this doesn't match who I am anymore. And then they act like it. Because once a new standard is locked in, not talked about, not wished for, but lived, everything around you either rises to meet it or gets left behind.